everybody, Avatar Kiyoshi here.
You're the Avatar?
No, him.
Over here.
Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. We're talking about bending techniques so obscure that even Wan Shutong probably doesn't have them in his library. But seriously, the abilities we're about to discuss are mind-blowing. Imagine finding a secret passage in your own house. That's the level of revelation we're dealing with here. These theories could reshape your understanding of the Avatar universe. You might find yourself questioning whether you're in the spirit world right now. Spoiler alert, you're not. Unless you are, in which case, say hi to Iroh for me. But let's get back to reality and prepare for some truly astonishing bending abilities. Picture this, a shadowy figure manipulating fire, water, earth, and air simultaneously. Impossible, right? Well, not so fast. Let me take you on a journey that might just challenge everything you thought you knew about bending in the Avatar universe. I stumbled upon an ancient scroll in a dusty corner of Ba Sing Se's archives that depicts a bender wielding multiple elements. But here's the kicker, they're not the Avatar. This mysterious figure, known as the Convergence, supposedly lived centuries before Aang. The scroll's authenticity was verified by the Earth King's personal historian, confirming it as a legitimate historical document. So if this bender really existed, how did they break the fundamental rules of bending? To answer that question, we need to dive into the realm of hybrid bending techniques. Imagine for a moment that the elements aren't as separate as we've been led to believe. What if at their core, they're all manifestations of the same energy? Remember Guru Pathik? He taught Aang about the chakras and how energy flows through the body, explaining that the separation of the elements is an illusion. What if the Convergence somehow tapped into this fundamental truth? Let's break it down. We know that lightning is a subset of firebending, right? But lightning is essentially superheated air, a combination of fire and air elements. Waterbenders can manipulate plants by bending the water within them, effectively controlling earth through water. These examples show that the lines between elements aren't as clear-cut as we might think. The scroll describes the Convergence as someone who could see the threads that connect all things. This sounds a lot like energy bending, doesn't it? What if this mysterious bender discovered a way to manipulate the underlying energy of all elements? It also mentions something called the Nexus Point, a state of perfect balance where all elements converge. It's described as a fleeting moment of cosmic alignment that occurs once every 1,000 years. Could the Convergence have learned to tap into this nexus point at will? You might be wondering why we haven't seen this ability in the show. Well, maybe the knowledge was lost to time, or it's a closely guarded secret. After all, the power to control all elements would be incredibly dangerous in the wrong hands. But we might have seen hints of this ability without realizing it. Remember Zahir and his team's escape? They combined their bending skills in unprecedented ways. What if they were tapping into some form of this hybrid bending? And let's not forget the spirit world, where bending rules differ. Could the Convergence have brought that spiritual energy into the physical realm? All of this points to a tantalizing possibility, that there are forms of bending out there that blur the lines between elements, challenging our understanding of what's possible in the Avatar universe. Let's venture into even darker territory. Imagine a bending ability so powerful, so ethically questionable that it makes bloodbending seem almost tame in comparison. Deep in the Siwang Desert, whispers of a technique that could rewrite everything we know about the spirit world have been circulating for centuries. Picture this, a lone sandbender standing atop a dune, arms outstretched, but instead of manipulating the endless grains around them, they're reaching out to something unseen, something ethereal. Witnesses claim this bender could control the very essence of spirits, bending them to their will. This goes far beyond Unalak's spirit purification. It's a direct manipulation of spiritual energy itself. We'll call this theoretical technique spirit bending. The implications are staggering. Imagine puppeteering spirits like Hei Bai or even Ko the Face Stealer. If this technique exists, it could explain some of the most mysterious events in Avatar lore. Remember how the first Avatar separated Ra'ava and Vaatu? What if it was actually an advanced form of spirit bending? But here's where it gets really wild. What if this technique could be used on humans? We know humans have a spiritual essence. It's what allows some to enter the spirit world or communicate with spirits. If a bender could manipulate that essence, it's like like blood bending for the soul. The ethical implications are enormous. Now you might be wondering why we haven't seen this in action. Well, it could be an incredibly rare ability, even more so than blood bending. Maybe it requires a perfect alignment of spiritual energy and bending prowess that only occurs once in a generation. Or it could be a closely guarded secret. If you had the power to control spirits and potentially alter a person's essence, would you advertise it? There's also the possibility that spirit bending is more theoretical than practical. But consider the evidence we do have. We know energy bending exists. It's how Aang took away Ozai's bending. What if spirit bending is an advanced form of energy bending, allowing manipulation of spiritual energy itself? This could explain some inexplicable moments in Avatar lore. Remember when Aang's spirit manifested and took control of the ocean spirit during the Siege of the North? Or Janora's ability to project her spirit and communicate with other spirits. We've chalked these up to the Avatar state and spiritual gifts. But what if they're actually forms of spirit bending? The more you consider it, the more plausible and terrifying it becomes. If spirit bending is real, it means the very fabric of the Avatar universe is more malleable than we ever imagined. The line between the physical and spiritual worlds blurs even further, opening up a realm of possibilities that are both fascinating and potentially dangerous. Remember how Toph discovered metal bending? Well, that's just the beginning. We're about to explore a realm of bending so advanced, it's like comparing a candle to a supernova. What if I told you that all bending is just fancy physics? Let's dive into the mind-bending world of quantum bending. Picture this scenario: a firebender manipulating energy at the atomic level, essentially becoming a walking nuclear reactor, Zuko or Azula, but instead of generating lightning, they're splitting atoms with a flick of their wrist. The power at their fingertips would be unimaginable. Consider the possibility of a waterbender altering the state of matter, turning water into plasma with a mere thought. We've seen Katara freeze water and turn it to steam, but plasma? That's creating miniature suns in the palm of their hands. Now you might be thinking this all sounds a bit far-fetched, but hear me out. Remember Combustion Man? His ability might actually be a primitive form of quantum firebending. He wasn't just creating fire, he was manipulating matter at a fundamental level to cause rapid oxidation and explosive reactions. The potential for quantum bending is staggering. Airbenders could create perfect vacuums, manipulating the very presence or absence of air molecules. Earthbenders might transmute elements, turning simple rocks into precious metals or even radioactive materials. And imagine a quantum waterbender splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, creating breathable air underwater or fuel for combustion. This level of bending would redefine the very limits of elemental control. We'd be looking at a world where the traditional boundaries between elements blur and eventually disappear. A master quantum bender might see fire, water, earth, and air not as separate entities, but as different manifestations of the same fundamental particles. Of course, this would require an unprecedented understanding of the physical world. We're talking about benders who are part mystic, part theoretical physicist. They'd need to comprehend concepts like wave-particle duality, quantum entanglement, and the uncertainty principle. It's about understanding the very fabric of reality. The implications go beyond combat or practical applications. Think about the scientific advancements that could be made. Quantum benders could potentially solve energy crises, develop new materials with incredible properties, or even help unravel the mysteries of the universe. But with great power comes great responsibility. The ethical implications of quantum bending are staggering. In the wrong hands, this ability could be catastrophic. A single quantum bender could potentially level entire cities, or create environmental disasters on a global scale. The Avatar's role in maintaining balance would become more crucial than ever. So what do you think? Is quantum bending the next frontier in the Avatar universe? Or is it too far-fetched even for a world of element bending? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. While quantum bending might push the boundaries of physics, there's another forgotten art that taps into the very essence of bending itself. Remember Ty Lee's chi blocking? Now picture its polar opposite, a method to supercharge one's chi to godlike levels. But be warned, this power comes with a price that few are willing to pay. Let me introduce you to the lost art of chi amplification. It's a dangerous dance with the very energy that flows through every bender's body. Imagine a secret society of benders who discovered how to crank their chi up to 11. We're talking about benders achieving feats that would make even the Avatar's jaw drop. Picture earthbenders raising entire mountain ranges with a flick of their wrist, firebenders conjuring infernos that could put volcanoes to shame, waterbenders creating tidal waves large enough to reshape coastlines, and airbenders whipping up storms that could alter weather patterns across continents. Sounds incredible, right? Well, there's a catch. And it's a big one. Chi amplification pushes your body's energy systems to their absolute limits and beyond. The human body isn't designed to channel that much raw power, and the consequences can be devastating. Many who attempted this technique combusted, their bodies unable to contain the immense energy they were trying to control. The allure of such incredible power was almost irresistible to some. But as reports of benders literally burning up from the inside out began to spread, fear and concern grew among the bending community. Eventually, the technique was deemed too dangerous and forbidden, with all knowledge of it supposedly destroyed. But here's where things get interesting. What if some of that knowledge survived? What if there were benders out there who managed to unlock the secrets of chi amplification without succumbing to its deadly side effects? It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. Remember our mystery bender from the beginning, the one who seemed to defy everything we thought we knew about bending? Well, what if they've mastered chi amplification? It would certainly explain their seemingly impossible abilities, the power to manipulate multiple elements, the sheer scale of their bending. It all fits with what we know about this lost art. This theory opens up a whole new can of worms when it comes to our understanding of bending. If chi amplification is real and can be mastered, it suggests that the limits we've always assumed existed for benders might be more flexible than we thought. It raises questions about the nature of chi itself and how it relates to the elements. Consider this: what if the separation between the elements isn't as clear-cut as we've always believed? Chi amplification might be tapping into something more fundamental, a raw energy that underlies all bending. This could explain why it's so dangerous. It's like trying to handle pure, unrefined power. The implications are staggering. If someone could master chi amplification without the nasty side effects, they'd have access to power on a scale we've never seen before. They could potentially reshape the world itself. And that's not even considering the spiritual implications. How would this kind of power affect one's connection to the spirit world? Could it allow for even greater feats of spirit bending? Speaking of reshaping the world, let's push that idea to its absolute limit. We've explored bending elements and energy, but what if bending could manipulate the very fabric of reality itself? Time and space bending might sound like pure fantasy, but there's evidence that suggests otherwise. Remember how the spirit world operates on different rules? Time flows strangely, and spatial relationships get flexible. Now imagine a bender tapping into that same energy in our physical world. We could be talking about creating localized temporal bubbles, or bending distances like an artist folding a canvas. But here's the thing, we've already seen hints of these abilities. Think about Aang's energy bubble in the Avatar state. That sphere of power that seemed to slow everything around him? What if that wasn't just for show, but an early form of time manipulation? And Janora's astral projection, separating her spirit and sending it vast distances. That's practically space bending already. Now let's get really speculative. A master of time and space bending could potentially create temporal loops, instantly transport across great distances, or even glimpse moments from the past or future. The implications for combat, exploration, and scientific discovery are mind-boggling. But what if time and space bending isn't a separate discipline at all? What if it's an advanced application of spiritual techniques we've already seen? We know that highly spiritual individuals like Aang and Janora have demonstrated abilities beyond normal bending. Perhaps as one's spiritual connection deepens, their influence on reality itself grows stronger. This could explain why we haven't seen overt time and space manipulation. It might require not just immense power, but a level of spiritual enlightenment beyond even the Avatar state. We're talking about an incredibly rare ability, reserved for those who've truly mastered the connection between the physical and spiritual worlds. Of course, the ethical implications are staggering. Altering the past could have catastrophic consequences. Glimpsing the future might lead to self-fulfilling prophecies. And the power to manipulate space at will? In the wrong hands, that could be devastating. But let's not get too caught up in the downsides. The mere possibility of time and space bending completely reshapes our understanding of what bending truly is. It suggests that at its core, bending isn't just about manipulating elements. It's about having a fundamental influence on reality itself. As we approach the final piece of our puzzle, the true nature of bending seems more mysterious and profound than ever. We've ventured from the physical to the spiritual, from the microscopic to the cosmic, and yet I can't shake the feeling that we're still only scratching the surface of what's possible in the Avatar universe. A world of bending stretches far beyond our wildest dreams. We've uncovered a tapestry of possibilities that would make even the most seasoned benders question everything. Hybrid techniques, quantum manipulations, and spiritual control. The potential seems as vast as the spirit world itself. Let's recap the most surprising revelations. 1. Element blending abilities. Reality-altering quantum bending. 3. Spirit world manipulation. But what's next? What groundbreaking discovery do you think lies just around the corner? The implications are staggering, and our journey into the depths of bending has only begun. As we push the boundaries of what's possible, one thing's certain: the Avatar universe will never look the same again. What hidden abilities are waiting to be uncovered?